I think I've mentioned this about sustainability before, because whether we like it or not, all these billions of people on the planet are clogging up the ground, and that means that when you pass away, as we all do, and if this is news to you, I'm sorry. But what happens is you are in a varnished coffin, or you're cremated, and you have a way of disposing of the body. If you're in the Ganges, or if you're in like another place, they'll burn you. But if you're here in the United States, in Canada, and you're cremated, it's 2 gasoline tanks, SUV size, to get you to be dust.
Oh.
If you're in a varnished coffin underground, it's multiple amount of space taken up, right? Where chickens, if they're free-range chickens right now, they only need 6 inches on each side of them to be free-range, according to law. You know, they don't need much at all, or 12 inches. So how do we, as the people that we are, and we're the biggest generation of people clogging up the universe right now from the ground down on the planet, and I was thinking about this, my husband and I had talked about this many years ago. There was one place, it was a woman, I have none of the data because I didn't come prepared for this, but you can look it up. She was a doctorate working on sustainability, and she had spent some time on a farm, and when they have to get rid of these humongous cows because they die, do they bury them? Her questions. And the question was, how do you dispose of barn animals? And they said, well, they're so big, what we do is we end up mulching them. And I had talked to you about this before because of Caesar's Breath, right? The book by Sean Keane, I think, Sam Keane. And what happens is every breath you take is filled of the atoms that were of someone else. Everything you do, everything you eat, when you tinkle, everything is all atoms, and they all disperse into the atmosphere. So there's 2 places in Canada. Only one of them is, or maybe there's more than that. There's one in Halifax. There's one on Salt Spring, which was very interesting. Halifax was more of a hybrid deal. Salt Spring was very interesting. They don't compost you like they do in Washington State. In Washington State, back to the beginning, the woman who was doing the doctorate found out that she could mulch a human body in about a month. It would turn to about a wheelbarrow full of dust, depending on, girth. And you could come collect it and put it in your own yard, or you could plant a tree in their forest, or you could do whatever you wanted. But then this morning, I was listening to the CBC, doing my kitchen stuff, and I had to stop because it started talking about green passing. How do you sustainably pass on without clogging up and taking up space, which is a thing with me. I think we take up too much. Like a headstone's thousands upon thousands of dollars. The whole thing, if you've ever buried anybody, it's astronomically expensive. And there's a lot of falsity to it, I think. I don't know. My whole family, with very few exceptions, I've had to bury, and I didn't do it. They just passed away. So what happens is, and I go through these, I don't know how funerals happen here. They're all different, but back where I come from, it's a long line of I'm sorry's. There is a casket, it's horrendous. And they were saying that on Salt Spring, they won't let you plant your own tree, but they will take you out into the forest, wrap you in a sheet, you're not embalmed, they put you 4 feet below, because that's 18 inches is the level where animals can smell you and dig you up by that time. And within no time at all, you're back to the earth again. And I was thinking about this because as I was going back again for the 3rd time, because I wasn't prepared, the mulching process takes that month, but you do it in a barn with sawdust and lime, and there's no smell. They put fans on, keeps the water, and then you're back to the earth that you came from, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So we were talking about this because as we've tried to downscale from a 4-bedroom, 2 acres of land, a tractor, to a 3 vehicle, sometimes 4, we're down to 1 vehicle that we're sharing, 1 camper that doesn't leave very much, and we go out once a week for groceries. And we've changed, and I was telling Larry this last night, they were talking about sustainability again, and we've done our whole life so that we only have 1 or 2 meat meals a week, and sometimes less than that, sometimes it's a month. I've turned our whole life over to, I don't know how people do it with the little green bins, because we fill our green bin constantly. I can't compost it because the bears come, and they throw the compost barrel down the hill. They don't like potatoes or onions. So they're like, no. So I was just thinking about how helpless we feel in this constant pressure to understand how we affect the environment, how our footprint is. And is there anything you can do? Well, you can plan for a green burial. You can change over to, I have like lots of great recipes for all sorts of good vegetarian things. I've even learned how to make scrambled eggs vegetarian, which is interesting, using black salt. And I've like changed our lives. My husband's lost 30 pounds. I've gained like 10 over this last. Anyways, but the truth of the matter is, it is absolutely possible if we can make small incremental changes that will long-term benefit the earth and the generations coming after us. And even at the most part of it is to feel grateful that we're doing something instead of feeling like you're part of the problem. And that was what I was really going to focus on. I got thrown here by these lovely people because I was just stopping by because I have to go use my one car to go get my one husband. So I just want to say I am grateful for the platform, because we need to do something for ourselves, whether it's to say, like I sent around that email, think of 3 things before you go to bed. And I've been doing this with my husband, holding his hand, making him do this with me, to say, what are you grateful for? Because if you open up the news, or if you look across, I was just at the pharmacy, there but for the grace of God, go I. My mom used to say this all the time. I saw somebody hobbling out, muttering, just a mess. And I thought, if we lay in bed just before we go to sleep, there's a study called the Happiness Study. It's really old. And it just says, think of 3 things, just consciously, before you slip off to sleep. Or we used to call it the pee prayer. When you're on the toilet, you say a prayer. You just think about, because you're always on the toilet at some point in the day. May as well make it useful. And I don't mean War and Peace useful for the other side. I just mean like, whoop. But you can think about 3 things off the top of your head. And it can be the same thing. My husband, he'll just say, I'm grateful for you. But you can say things like the hummingbirds, or Laurel's camera, or your energy and having you in my life, or even just walking the dogs on the beach, or there's baked bread. You know, there's all these little things. The chance encounter you had yesterday with somebody who just made you smile. That happened to me. It's time for us to just actually put on our bigger girl panties and understand that there's something we still can do.